we've recorded this once before, but it did corrupt, so we're redoing it. So obviously introducing Toona, and Toona, you were recently made a Twitch partner, which is obviously amazing, very very cool. So point of this kind of episode is that we're gonna learn a bit about Toona, about some of the stuff that took him from a new streamer to a Twitch partner, and I think was it over the course of 3 years, Toona?
About 3.5 years, I guess.
Three and
That's
a
how long
half
I've been
years.
streaming now.
So yeah, so I guess it'd be really good then to start off as is how did you get into streaming originally? What made you want to start?
Yeah, so originally I started by watching just a handful of streamers and getting to know a few of them. And I'm like, these people, they have 4 or 5 viewers. They're really awesome people, and I wanted to see them grow. It was also right around the time COVID happened, so started working from home and got moved into a new manager position. So I was like, I need to get better at public speaking, and I want to see these people grow. Hey, why don't I start streaming too? Just to see what I can do. And I don't know if I get any better at public speaking, but I am much more comfortable with it now anyway. I guess that's
And
something.
I guess it's obviously difficult to build like public speaking during COVID because no one was like around. You weren't able to do big gatherings and have talks and conferences. So I guess that's actually like a really interesting like way to improve at public speaking. And so yeah, do you reckon that over that 3.5 years you've gotten better? Obviously, I don't know you from 3.5 years ago. So if you were reflecting back, do you think you've improved?
I think I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. I remember before getting in front of the entire company, hands shaking, voice cracking. It's not my thing. I work in technology. It's not really my place to be standing in front of everybody. Um, so just being able to stand up there and actually talk is huge.
Yeah, that is cool. It's a strange skill, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people don't actually appreciate how hard it is to talk to an audience, no matter how big that is. I remember doing like class presentations in high school, and it was like so nerve wracking. But then after you've done it like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, you sort of forget about it a little bit. Um, and maybe it's a bit harder to develop that when the people aren't directly in front of you. It's just kind of a number on a screen. So, did you feel like when you came back to doing it in person, it was easier than expected, or still kind of some way to go?
Well, actually, our company pretty much just closed the office altogether. So we're all remote employees now. So only time I ever have to talk in front of people is on a Zoom call, and it is easier for sure.
Nice, nice. Okay,
Talking to
and
clients,
so
everything, make it a lot easier.
yeah, talking to clients is another one as well, which is obviously quite a nerve wracking one, especially if you're trying to sell something, or solve one of their problems if they're complaining at you. So what's your journey been like then from a new streamer to a Twitch partner? Would you say it's been relatively straightforward and easy, or would you say it's been like the hardest thing you've ever done, or somewhere in between?
I'd love to say it's just a straight line up. The more you do it, it just keeps moving up. Definitely not a linear thing. It's you look at numbers and you think, am I growing? Am I not growing? I know I sat at like 20 viewers for about a year and a half, and I was thinking, am I growing? Well, my followers are going up. My viewership stays the same. But is that really why I'm actually even doing this? And I had to take a step back and rethink everything. Why am I doing this now? I'm still trying to help other people grow. I want to give people advice if I can. And honestly, I think just being a good person and supporting others and giving that advice, tech advice, streaming advice, people advice, whatever you want to call it, it's helped me grow in ways that you can't measure by numbers, right? But as far as the journey itself, yeah, I mean, it's I think I hit affiliate within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that. A bunch of really cool people found me and kind of pulled me into their communities. Uh, and then, yeah, over the course of 2.5, 3 years, took me to get to partner. I guess over 3 years. It was just a lot of getting to know people and setting up collaborations and networking, doing a lot of social media stuff. Because if you know anything about streaming, it's definitely not just streaming. You need to branch out if you want to keep seeing growth. and streaming, I guess.
Yeah. And so when you were first starting out, then obviously you mentioned that you were getting brought into other people's communities. So if I'm right, it was Sea of Thieves that you started in. Is that correct?
It is. It is. Actually, no. I think the very first time I streamed, I think it might have been Rocket League, and then a little bit of Borderlands, possibly. But then, yeah, immediately after that, it was about 2 years of Sea of Thieves,
And so,
which is where I found most of my growth at the beginning.
yeah, I was going to say, so when you were doing kind of Rocket League and Borderlands and you hit affiliate, was that with those two games or had you already gone into Sea of Thieves at that point within that 2 weeks?
I was in Sea of Thieves. I think
Yeah.
my third or fourth stream was Sea of Thieves, and then yeah, people just found me. It was weird because like I didn't. Just a bunch of random people popped in. Oh hey, you wanna meet some of the people I hang out with? Come join our Discord. Come join, and so I joined 3 or 4 different Discords and started playing games with these people, and we're still friends 3.5 years later. And it was a fun journey to start.
And would you say that's probably what has contributed most to your growth in terms of just networking with other streamers and growing kind of organically through those, communities that have been brought together?
I think that's a large part of it. Um, I have seeked out other communities in the past or Twitch teams and things of that nature and tried to get involved. But I think once it's already an established community of hundreds of people, I personally have a hard time trying to find my way where I fit in that community. So when you get involved with these smaller communities of 15, 20 people and they grow to a couple hundred people, I think that's much more where I found a lot of my growth to start. Uh, yeah, I didn't find as much growth in those bigger communities, those well-established ones that already have their groups of friends, I guess.
Yeah, I guess as well, like if you're, joining an established group, it sometimes might feel like you're coming in just to sell yourself, right? Whereas if you join a much smaller group of 10, 15, 20 people, it seems like authentic because these are such a small group. It's not like even if you were to try and sell yourself, you're not getting a ton out of it because it's only like 10, 15 people. So it does seem like during its infancy, when you get in during its infancy, it's much more like organic as opposed to jumping into like a group of 200 people and like, hey guys, come watch me or, whatever the typical sales pitch is.
Exactly. I think it's a slower growth, but I think it's definitely more authentic, like you're saying, for the smaller group.
And would you say then there was a specific moment that led to your growth in viewership or was it that you just picked Sea of Thieves, which just so happened to be very good at welcoming new streamers?
I think it was a little bit of both. I did do my first charity event. My son is type 1 diabetic, so I always do a lot of charity work for type 1 through Breakthrough T1D. And so about 4 or 5 months in, I did my first charity event because, again, that's another very important part of my platform is I try to do a lot of charity stuff and give back as much as I can. I still work full time as a software developer, so this is just a little bit of fun on the side. So my way to give back is I want to do a lot of charity stuff. And so I did my first charity event 6 months in. I did meet quite a few cool people through that. Um, and I actually saw quite a bit of growth from every year I do my big charity event in August, and every year I see a lot of growth. That being said, I would never tell somebody, hey, do charity work to grow. I would say do charity work to do charity work. And the growth may or may not come. Um, it's, I also know a lot of people that have done charity work for, just so they grow and they see the exact opposite because you're not authentically trying to raise money for a good cause. You're trying to do it for your own benefit. Um, so if you're authentically trying to do charity stuff, I know I have a lot of friends that do it. My buddy Ty is doing one for Extra Life right now. He's seen a lot of growth from it, but again, he's put hundreds of dollars into this so he can make it make it a success for the charity. So
And when you're thinking about doing your charity events then, because obviously, like you said, you've been quite successful with them, obviously raising, how much is it? Is it like $29,000 so far, maybe more now after the last weekend?
yeah, so we're at 29,300, I think, in a little over 3 years. Last big event we did in August was 10 or 11,000 in a
Well,
week span. So
I mean, that's incredible. So there must obviously be a lot of planning that goes into these events as well. Then it'd be kind of good for you to explain, what your uh, process of organizing these events looks like. Do you speak to the charities in advance? Is there anyone that you work with at the charities to do this? Are you working with Twitch? Because a lot of people want to run, and this doesn't have to be charity really, events like you said, but people again who run things like subathons or 24-hour streams, and then they will just go live. They'll just go live and say, oh, I'm doing a subathon now, but no one ever knew previously about the event. And there's a lot of planning that actually does go into these events. So it'd be quite good to kind of get your insight into these charity events that you set up and subathons in general or any other kind of stream event. What's the process that goes into organizing something like that?
yeah. So I actually have a team of about 10 people to help me out with this right now. Every January is when we start for our August event. I'll help out with several other events throughout the year, but the event I do is in August. And so we spend about 8 months reaching out to companies, trying to find sponsorships for giveaways, companies that are willing to promote it or help with matching donations, that kind of stuff. That's in January. We're just thinking through everything, trying to figure out, hey, what do we want to do this year? What is the theme? Last year we printed 3D printed guitars. We gave those out. So we tried to do more of a 3D printing kind of vibe for last year. We had a printer we gave out to somebody. We had a gaming PC. If you start reaching out to companies early, you can definitely find a lot of sponsorships for these events. So that's several months ahead of time. Once we get closer, we did a lot of sound alerts. We had some people helping out with, video editing. We set up a week-long raid train. Not all the slots were filled this year, but we tried as much as we could, So pretty much I would raid into somebody else. They would take over for 4 hours or whatever their time slot was, and then they would raid into somebody else. And so we would just keep this thing going. We like to call it, we held our viewers hostage for a week. To have them donate or to get the viewership up for everybody. And it worked really well. As far as promoting it, I think we started probably a month and a half in advance, just shouting it out on all of our streams, putting information on all the social networks, TikTok, YouTube. We had several people posting about it in their Discords and trying to get people involved. And the cool thing with Sea of Thieves, I will say this, if you go into their Discord and talk to one of their community managers, for most charity events, they will actually promote it and ping everybody in Discord for it, which is like 200,000 people. So if anybody wants to run a Sea of Thieves charity event, talk to their community managers. They're really good about that.
Okay, so there is a significant amount of planning that goes into it, especially if there's 10 other people helping you out. And is the event then a 24-hour event? Is that how it works, or does it change each year?
The first year, what did we do? I think the first year we did 2 8-hour streams. Then next year was 3. The third year was we just did 4 days straight, 24 hours, 4 days straight, rating out to different channels. And then this year was 6-ish days, almost 24 hours straight. A couple gaps in there that you can avoid. Start finding people at 2 a.m.
And so if someone then was going to look to run maybe their first subathon or first event, maybe that isn't necessarily charity based. Obviously charity has the element of that you do want to raise money for a good cause. And so a lot of businesses are probably going to be much more interested in supporting that cause for the good press as opposed to supporting a subathon. So, if someone who's a relatively new streamer or is still a small streamer was planning on doing an event like a subathon, how would you recommend them go about setting that up, organizing it, kind of best practices?
Yeah, I would plan out milestones and incentives, or challenges even. Once I hit 25 subs, we'll dump the beans on our head or something weird, I don't know. This year, once we hit the $10,000 mark, my son threw water balloons at me as I was wearing a fish onesie. So, having challenges in place, giveaways are fun. And I think people will donate for those, but I find weird challenges work quite a bit better. They want to see you in pain more than they want to see themselves win something. Bean boozleds are great, or spicy foods. So many good ideas are out there for it. Um, Plus, if you use the Shadow AI tool in Yakker Growth, I just want to point this out. It'll come up with the ideas for you.
Oh yeah, good call out
Plug
there. Thank
Yakker
you very
there.
much.
I've been using it for
And
so
so
much lately.
and so on the challenges then, because I think that's a really valid point actually you made then in terms of giveaways versus some sort of bad thing that you have to do, is that if there's a lot of people watching and taking part and there's a giveaway going on, the chance of them winning it is like much smaller, obviously. But the chance of something bad happening to you is much greater, and everyone gets enjoyment out of that. They all kind of pool together to sub. So I think that's a really interesting kind of thing to think about. I think a lot of people who start off new and small, who are new streamers, put a lot of emphasis on spending a lot of money on giveaways to then not actually get like a return on that investment, return on that giveaway. I remember seeing a new streamer who literally just started and he was doing a giveaway for like a brand new PlayStation 5 when they first came out. And I was just like, whoa, that's like, a $600 console. That's going to be a lot of subs in the next month to kind of recover that money. So, people do have to be a little
Mhm.
bit more, you do have to think about what you're going to get out of it if you're putting that much money into it. That is crazy. So, the ideas of like pouring beans over your head or spicy foods or getting your son to throw water balloons at you is obviously they're great ideas. Um, and so
So
then it just,
when we were in San Francisco a couple weeks back, one thing we did was death nuts. I don't know if you've ever had those. It's extremely spicy peanuts. And we raised $2,000 in probably 20 minutes because they wanted to see the hottest one. So
wow,
we all ate the hottest one. It was not fun,
was it hot?
but we raised a lot of money in a short. Yeah, we raised a lot of money in a short amount of time though. In 2 hours, we raised $6,000 because of the challenges.
That's
So
amazing. I
it's
mean, that's
it's
insane,
great.
isn't that? That's incredible. The power of a community is so important. And I think when we speak to a lot of small and new streamers, I think they forget that quite a lot. Sometimes I think they think, oh, I'll just go live and I'll go live for a few hours and maybe I'll post a few TikTok videos, but then they won't harness like the community at the beginning, like meeting other streamers, collaborating, trying to help one another out, supporting each other, following each other, on their TikTok channels and say, hey, I love this content, keep it up, with no intention for there to be a paid back of anything, but just being seen to be doing good in the community. And that does take some time to do, but like setting that core foundation is so important. And I think that's something you preach quite a lot.
I am all about trying to support other people before. Yeah, if they support me back, fine. But I never expect them to support me back. Um, I always try to show up when I can. Say hi, maybe drop a sub, whatever it is. I do always, out of my Twitch payouts, the first like $150 goes right back into the community. Unless, I'm making a lot more than it's, more of a percentage, but a lot of that goes right back out to the community, in the form of subs or cheers or, sound alerts where I get a jump scare and whatever it is. It was always fun. Um, and so I definitely try to make that my priority, giving back to the community or giving to the community. And if they give back or if they show up, great.
And just thinking about your then content strategy now, once you start building out a community, how much of your content strategy is influenced by your community? Because obviously you're no longer just solely streaming Sea of Thieves now, right? You're a variety streamer now.
Sometimes I'll do a poll, see what people want me to play. It's usually horror games because, I hate horror games. Um, but overall, I just kind of play what I want to play. Sometimes people don't show up because they don't want to see that game or because there's a story to it. I think people show up a lot more to multiplayer games because, like, let's say Sea of Thieves or Hunt or something like that, because there's no story. They don't have to worry about, oh, are there going to be spoilers or anything like that. So I always find multiplayer content works better, but I do like to play single player games. I started Epic Mickey a couple of weeks, last week. Yeah, last week. And I had a lot of fun with it. chat was dead quiet, but I had fun. And, sometimes you got to do those things for you. Sometimes you got to do the multiplayer for your community.
Yeah, I guess one of the main things as well, obviously, is that you've got to enjoy what you're streaming, and you got to enjoy, the content that you're creating. Because if you're really kind of dedicated to it, then you're going to be doing it for a long time, and it's a lot of time to be doing something that doesn't make you happy. So, I think you've got a great point there. And one of the things I think a lot of people, when they first start out, is trying to weigh up whether they should go and play a one specific game and like really focus in on a niche. Maybe that's like Sea of Thieves, for example, or Warzone within Call of Duty, or playing Dead by Daylight, or whether they go completely out there with variety. And I don't know if you kind of have an opinion on that, if you were kind of recommending a strategy to a new streamer.
I mean, I've seen it both ways. I think variety is a lot harder to get into. So having your core game, I think, is kind of important. Whether that be Sea of Thieves or Call of Duty or whatever it is. I think that helps you grow initially. That's how I grew initially, was Sea of Thieves for 2 years, and then I jumped over to variety. But also you got to make sure you're having fun, because if you're not, your community can definitely see, hey, this guy is just suffering through this game, doesn't want to be here. I think that vibe kind of rubs off on them then. They're like, well, I don't really want to watch this either. It's just not fun. So do something that you enjoy, though. But I think having kind of a core game, at least, for let's say 50% of the time you're playing, whatever your core game is, just to bring people in. I think that's kind of important. And one other thing you could do too is, if you do want to play a different game, start the day off with your core game, whatever that is, for 3 or 4 hours, 2-3 hours, whatever your stream is, and then end with the other game that you want to play. Get people introduced to the other game. I know initially when I started watching people play Hunt Showdown, I had no idea what was going on, and so I had no desire to play it. So I watched somebody for a half an hour. I'm like, not really my thing. And so eventually, somebody I was watching was playing something else, and they swapped over to it and kind of explained what was going on. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. And that's how I got into Hunt Showdown now. So
Yeah, I think that's a really good strategy, actually. When Twitch allowed people to start multi-streaming to places like YouTube, for example, or when Kick became like a real thing and they were doing kind of like a 95-5 split, we had a lot of members interested in doing multi-streaming, before Twitch allowed multi-streaming, but they wanted to, benefit from the better split on subs. They would ask, how do I go about doing this? And basically what you said there in terms of trialing new games, trialing new platforms, like the first half of the stream, do it on Twitch. And before you switch over for the next, for the last 15 minutes, just say to people, look, in 15 minutes time, I'm going to be heading over to YouTube, or I'm going to be heading over to Kick, and I'm going to be doing an hour on there just to see how it goes. And so, kind of trialing out, putting your toe in the water, but not fully committing to it straight off the bat, because, like you said, it might really decimate the amount of viewers that turn up, and it might make them a bit confused by why you're streaming this game that they've never seen you play before, right?
yeah, exactly. I haven't gotten into multi-streaming yet, but I did just set up a dual PC setup so I could start streaming out to TikTok or YouTube Shorts as well.
Nice.
Not quite there yet, though. That's in the near future, I hope.
So nice. So would you, with your streaming schedule, do you have a fixed streaming schedule? And if you do or you don't, what's the reason for that?
When I initially started, I didn't. I usually did like Wednesday nights always, and then the other days would just kind of be whenever I felt like streaming, a couple days a week. But I would always see, higher numbers on Wednesday nights because I was consistent. Everybody knew, hey, he's going to be on Wednesday night. I'm going to try to be there. I've since changed that. It's now every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday night. Sometimes it'll change, but 95% of the time, that's what it is. And that's where I've seen my most consistent growth, I think, is just setting that consistent schedule, letting people know, sending out a Discord message or social post saying, hey, this is my schedule for the week. These are the games I'm playing. Letting people know, hey, I'm still going to be doing that schedule. It definitely helped kind of embed that into people that, oh, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, that's Toona stream. I'm going to be there. So
I guess a point on that too is that not only does it help set a routine for the viewers, but it also sets a routine for yourself to get into the habit of, okay, I know tomorrow is Monday. I need to be posting on my Twitter or on my threads or on my Discord, wherever it might be. I might need to put out a TikTok or, whatever social media platforms that you're active on. It also instills that behavior on yourself. So you get into that routine, because if you're just going a bit, oh, maybe I'll do today, maybe I'll do, tomorrow, or I don't really know. Not only does the viewership have no consistency, but you have no consistency in terms of like that planning that goes into a stream. I mean, you'll be able to speak on this, but you want to be putting more thought into it than just turning on the turning on your PC and streaming, right?
oh, definitely. I don't do it as much as I used to, but I used to post go lives all over the place. Twitter, Instagram, Discord channels, whatever. I don't do it quite as much. I'll do it here and there. I did find when I was doing it a lot and I wasn't posting anything else, there's no engagement. It was kind of oh, hey, he's just posting his go live again. So I'll do it, maybe once a week. Just as kind of a reminder. But for the most part now, I'm not doing that as much. But you still have to get your game set up. You got to make sure your audio is working. You got to make sure, so that way your first half of half hour of your stream, you're not troubleshooting while you're live. So just making sure everything is ready to go. You have the game source set properly. You got, you actually have a checklist I kind of go through. Like, here's my 10 things. Let me jump over to Yakker Growth. Let's see what kind of fun title it comes up with. Let's get my question of the day going. So I'll spend about 10 minutes getting ready before every stream now.
No, that's actually an interesting one that you mentioned, because one of the questions I did want to ask was, do you have any pre-stream or post-stream routine? So maybe if you want to touch on that whilst you've mentioned it.
So a lot of the pre-stream stuff is, setting my title, getting the game launched and setting the sources properly. I've been trying to do more stream together with shared chats. I find that keeps the flow going a lot better. So trying to make sure everybody's in the stream together. And is ready to go for that. Like I said, sometimes I'll post a go live message. Sometimes I won't. Usually I'll jump over to ask the shadow AI, hey, what are some good questions of the day that I can ask? And then I'll kind of make my own based off some of the suggestions. That's a lot of it. Again, double checking audio and all the normal stuff before I go live.
And is there anything you're doing after the stream ends?
Usually I do all my after stream stuff the next day. Usually I'll just kind of raid out. It's like 1 a.m. when I usually end. So it's the next morning I will kind of post hey, thanks everybody for showing up. Maybe I'll find a clip or two to post as well that are really, really fun. Yeah, I don't do as much after stream stuff as I used to though.
And how important?
And the next day I'll follow up with stuff. Oh,
I was going to say, how important do you think it is raiding out at the end of every stream?
I think it's huge. I personally try not to raid out to anybody that has an established community. I usually try to raid out to other smaller streamers or friends that are part of the community. Just because I want to see other people grow, like I said. So if somebody has 300 viewers, yeah, you could get a shout out from them and you might get a follow or two, maybe. But at the end of the day, I could also raid out to somebody that has 10 viewers or 5 viewers or something, and they may get 30 or 40 follows out of it, depending on how many people I have active at the time. And so again, I'm all about trying to help other people grow as much as I want to see myself grow. So I try to raid out to people and get my community to go say hi and show them some love as well.
I think that's a really powerful one, raiding. I think that goes sometimes under the radar, and like you mentioned there, like raiding someone who has like 1,000 live viewers. If you come in with 50, to them it does not mean anywhere near as much if someone before you has just dropped 50 gifted subs. It's different levels, and sometimes they don't appreciate it, as much as they should. Whereas if you come in with 50 views to someone who has 5, that's going to make their week. That's going to completely change their day. Any mood that they were previously feeling, it's going to pick them up. But even if you're only coming in, you're a new small streamer with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 viewers yourself, and you go in and raid another person, even that will be noticed by that person with like 5 to 10 viewers. At that stage, that it does really mean a lot, right? Because you are still, I think people who are on like 2 viewers see someone with 10 and go, oh my God, I'd love to have some, 10. Someone with 10 see someone with 20, go, oh my God, I'd love to have 20. But
Exactly.
everyone is in that position still for quite a long time, right? And so doing small gestures, or what seems like maybe a small gesture, but is actually quite huge in terms of raiding, is pretty significant.
I've actually met some of my best friends by just raiding into them at the end of the night. Like, let's go find somebody new. Okay, cool. Let's go. This person seems really cool. So my friend Zombie Bear, we raided her like a year and a half ago. We're good friends now. I mean, it's sometimes you find a good friendship out of those as well. Whereas if you raid the guy with 1,000, at the end of the day, are they really going to want to be your friend? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. I would say they probably already have a well-established group around them, and it's probably not going to mean as much as like you were saying. So,
Yeah, for
but one
sure.
thing I will say is when I do raid out, if I know somebody is on doing a charity event or a subathon or something like that, I will usually go their way first, and then after that, then I'll either look around the community and then or find somebody new if I've raided that same person in the community 15 times in the last week.
How do you then, as you start to kind of break out of this new smaller stream, and you start finding yourself with a bit of community? So maybe let's say you're talking to someone now with 10, 15, 20 viewers. How are you balancing gameplay with chat interaction? What have you done in terms of making sure that chat don't feel like they're getting ignored whilst you're playing the game?
I think that's actually one of the reasons I really like using Stream Together recently. For the most part, I'm pretty good at balancing it. I'll go back and forth. My crew usually feels like they're ignored more than my chat does. But with Stream Together, which I love the feature, the shared chat is amazing. I do only use it with people I trust because all of my messages, like follow Toona on all his socials, are now being broadcast into their channels as well. And so I always feel bad about that. But and again, all their stuff is also being broadcast into mine. So it all evens out, and I'm happy to see their messages pop up in mine. So it's all good. But I think with that is it helps keep the flow of chat going better. We a lot of times I'm chatting with my own chat. My buddy Life is chatting with his own chat, and there's not a whole lot of interaction going back and forth. And with this, now we're just chatting to each other's chat, and we're just talking the whole time. It feels more like a panel almost. We're on stage and just having a real conversation, a real discussion with everybody, and not oh, my chat said this, my chat said that, and going back and forth.
Is there anything that you had like introduced to encourage that in chat engagement then? If you're streaming on your own, you're not multi-stream, sorry, you're not collaborating or doing a partner stream at that point. Is there anything that you've introduced from in terms of like plugins or using polls or anything like that that's helped get chat talking?
We do polls and predictions sometimes. One thing I have been doing, like I mentioned earlier, was using Shadow to come up with a question of the day. And then when somebody pops in, I'll be like, oh, hey, whoever, if you can combine 2 games, what 2 games would you mix together? And they say something, and that gets everybody else like, oh, hey, that's a good one. I also like that, And so a question of the day I find is huge. I know a lot of people do like the Pokemon game in chat. Not really my thing. I'm not against it. I use stream elements as well. So doing raffles to give out points for giveaways that I'm running is always a good one. I know Nightbot does something similar where you can actually, first person to choose a number between 1 and 100, whatever the correct number is, wins a prize or wins points or wins whatever. So you get just a wall of spam. Otherwise doing community games, some words on stream, Gardic, those kind of games are always a lot of fun to play with the community.
And would you say that has kind of helped build a more loyal community when you've got people talking? Has there been anything that you've noticed that has encouraged that, togetherness of the community, things like, the mini games, getting the question of the day answered.
I think the question of the day has been helping a lot recently, just because it gets us talking about random nonsense. Like, oh, I'd mix Rocket League with Sea of Thieves, and now we'd have boat soccer, and then I get somebody else thinking about something else, and it gets these ridiculous conversations going. But it kind of lets you see inside of everybody's minds. Oh, hey, they like that style of game. They for Halloween they want to do this kind of stuff. Oh, they like these types of foods, and it just gets those conversations going, not just for now, but also for the future.
And I guess also in a way, by asking everyone who talks in chat the question of the day, it makes them feel heard, makes them feel like they're welcome to get involved, whether they're, as someone who's been subscribed and following you for years, or they're brand new.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one, we actually had a lot of fun with Copilot from the actor the other day. You could see what it's saying about the person when they come in and they say something. Some of them are way off, and I absolutely love it. It's like, oh, this person hails from North Carolina, and he's like, not from the Pacific Northwest. What is that even talking about? So sometimes it's hilarious that it's really far off. Most of them have been pretty good. But it also, I think Copilot, it's still in the early stages, right? But it does have a lot of fun. Like, hey, make sure you ask, whoever this is about their pet, because last time they came in, they mentioned something about their pet. So I love that kind of stuff as well. I've been running that for the last 3 or 4 streams, and at least gives me ideas. I don't usually ask exactly what it says, but it gives me ideas on keeping the conversation going.
Nice. Good. Well, that's good to hear. That's some good positive feedback there for Copilot.
I'm not trying to be just plug I'm not trying to just plug the actor today, but I have been using it a lot. So
good. That's why we built it, right? We're trying to help you guys, grow communities and encourage conversation. So as long as it's working in some capacity, that's good to hear. So you mentioned that you're obviously doing a lot of stuff with the community on stream, raiding, getting really involved in questions of the day. Is there anything that you're doing offline when you're not streaming?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll still play games offline. But a lot of it, we actually created a community called the Creator Collective. Myself and three other people created this. And so what we try to do is we do monthly community game nights, Fall Guys. We'll try to get a bunch of people together for Fall Guys or whatever. Mario Kart. We'll do movie nights in Discord and stuff like that as well. So we're trying to build up the community in that way. Last year we did a fun Christmas thing. We have a few people that do a lot of music. So we recorded some music and found a lot of just ridiculous clips from the community, put them all together as like a Merry Christmas from the Creator Collective. And it was a lot of fun. So try to get people involved in various ways like that too.
Which have you found has worked the best in terms of getting the community involved offline? Then would you say it's kind of the movie nights or the game nights or doing those kind of?
I think the game nights have been. Yeah, I think the game nights have been really, really good. Or also people submitting just their ridiculous clips like that created a lot of conversations. I think we talked about doing a quarterly video like that at one point, but that just hasn't happened yet. It's a lot of work for somebody.
Okay, good. And the games aren't necessarily something that you play on stream. It's just a fun to play game. I'm guessing you're probably picking games that are free to play in some instances.
Yeah, either free or, if they're cheap, we'll just pick up a couple of copies and give them out to the community as well. People who want to join in. We've done Goose Goose Duck a couple times, which is great for off stream, terrible for on stream because everybody knows if you're the bad guy or not. But doing it in Discord is just a lot of fun. That one is free, so.
And so then thinking about nowadays, thinking about the modern day, then if you were going to recommend then someone to try and grow the Twitch channel, obviously back 3.5 years ago, I don't know if things were different for you because obviously during COVID, there was a lot of people around sat at home watching streams, but there was also a lot more people aspiring to be streamers. So it kind of all bubbled up together. So, but thinking about kind of the current meta of trying to grow a stream, obviously community management, networking, and you've mentioned social media. Would they be the three kind of main areas, or is there anything else that's missing that you would say you need to be doing this?
Yeah, I think those are definitely some of the biggest. But being consistent, like we were talking about earlier as well, setting up kind of a consistent schedule so people know when you're on. I think that's big for it. Uh, just genuinely getting to know people. Hey, I really like this person. I want to play games with them. Let me get to know them a little bit. Because we had somebody the other day ask, "Hey, can I join you for games?" I'm like, "I'd love to, but I don't even know you yet. Like, let's get to know each other. Jump in the Discord. Let's chat. Let's maybe play a game offline." And those are kind of the ways I find have helped me quite a bit. Just, hey, you want to collab sometime?
And with that, then, what would you say is like an essential skill for a new streamer? And they don't have to have it already. How you mentioned that when you started, you weren't a good public speaker. You felt like you didn't have the confidence to maybe talk in front of people or in front of a camera. Would you say there are any kind of absolutely essential skills that they should at least try and look to work on as they begin their streaming journey?
Don't ignore your chat. Because somebody comes in and says hi, and you don't look over there for 5 minutes, they're not going to be there in 5 minutes. So I have 2 monitors set up, my game here, OBS with chat and everything right next to it, so I can see out of the corner of my eye whenever it pops up immediately. I know a lot of people have it on their phones. They'll check it every 5 or 6 minutes and then wonder why, that person has left already or they didn't see anything again. Just acknowledging people when they come in. They say, "Hi, Toona." "Oh, hi. How's your day?" Just getting the conversation started and making sure you actually acknowledge that they exist.
Yeah. And do you have any kind of go-to conversation starters with when you don't know people, like when they are brand new? Because I think what we notice is a lot of people maybe get someone saying hi, they say hi back, and then that's the end of the conversation. It's dead. And they, try to think about maybe not a lot of people are like extroverts or aren't used to leading a conversation. But if you are a streamer, you probably do have to lead the conversation to begin with.
I'm definitely not an extrovert in person anyway, but I think question of the day was a great one. Or, hey, whoever you are, what kind of games do you like? Just some basic questions like that. But obviously, watching you play games, if you're playing games, uh, it's a great starting point.
Would you say then, is there any kind of things you would encourage streamers to be doing to get noticed on Twitch? Is there anything kind of in platform that you think helps? So obviously a lot of people think about tags, stream titles. Is there anything that you kind of think, is something that streamers should pay a little bit of attention to? Do you think stream titles and tags are as important as they are made out to be?
I think tags can help. I personally don't use them. I know a few people that have had some success. On the platform, I think it's hard to get noticed on Twitch. I'd say off the platform, putting up clips, you probably have a better chance of getting somebody to see your TikTok and then jump in one of your streams from that. I have several friends that I've met through a TikTok clip, and then they jump in chat and we chat and then we play games together, and now we're great friends for the last couple of years. On Twitch itself, though, just be consistent. Keep doing your thing. Actually, there are a couple things. It's not going to help people get to your channel, but I think it can help with maybe retaining people or at least having them say hi. Setting up like the panels, below, making it look semi-professional. Setting an offline screen. It's not going to get them to come to your channel, but once they hit your channel, it's going to look good and it's going to hopefully keep people there.
I think, first impressions matter a lot when it comes to someone landing on your stream. You might not have very long to convince them to stick around, especially if you're maybe offline or you're having technical difficulties, or maybe you're, in between a lobby loading up. there can be quite a lot of downtime because it's obviously not edited in advance of that person coming and watching on like a YouTube video or a TikTok. So, making sure, like you said, things look professional. Like the amount of times we see links not working, panels looking super messy with all different crazy art, um, just like poorly written about me sections or know about me sections and a bio that doesn't really tell the viewer anything. We hate the word, and I've not checked if you've got this in yours in advance, so I'm sorry, Tuna, but I hate when people use the word chill. So, it kind of doesn't encourage people to actually do anything like, chill vibes. I hate that. So when we see it, it doesn't really help anyone stand out when they say chill vibes because, um, everyone seems to have, every new streamer seems to have the term chill vibes. You know, I don't know if you're a victim to
I
this.
had to look. I'm like, do I have it? 'Cause I think I used to, but I don't now.
No.
I don't now.
And just using that space instead actually to tell people who you are as a person, like, or what you're about as a streamer. Like, if I come on and read that you're from a town near me, or you support the same sports team, or we played the same great games growing up, commonalities, same interests. That goes a long way in terms of getting people to want to actually come and talk to you because they want to talk to you about that common interest. And so many people just don't do that. So first impressions, right?
Yeah, huge.
And just thinking, conscious of time, it's been 50 minutes. So just kind of, asking some final questions then. So what would you say your kind of long-term goals are on Twitch? Would you say it's mostly focused in trying to get more charity and donations, or do you have some other goals in mind?
So definitely want to keep going with more type 1 diabetes research charity stuff in the future. Actually, I have 2 awards back here from the last year. Received one because we raised 7,000, something like that, in 2023. And the other one was I actually was one of the ambassador of the year. I tried to get involved in any way I can with them. So continuing to be involved with that charity is definitely near and dear to me, and I want to keep pushing that. The other one is I'm actually trying to find a good game studio to partner with. The 2 games I play most are Hunt Showdown and Sea of Thieves. And so if I could partner with either one of those, that would be huge for me. I mean, that's my dream goal. That's what I've been dreaming about for 3.5 years, is becoming a Sea of Thieves partner. See if it'll ever happen. But that's my current long-term goal. Or maybe it's short-term. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So I think last time we spoke, you mentioned that you had applied for the CSV's partnership, right? And they came back to you like 6 months later and said, "Oh, it's not quite the right time yet." But you're like, "Yeah, I kind of got that already."
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last time. I actually did apply again in April, and I heard back 2 weeks ago, and they denied it because when they denied it, they looked at the last 30 days, and the only reason I was under their requirements was because I took a week off for TwitchCon. And so I've been kind of chatting with one of their people over there. I don't know where it's going to go or if it'll go anywhere, but
Fingers
we'll see.
crossed.
That's my current goal. Because again, TFCs I think works really well for charity stuff for multiple reasons. There's downtime to talk about stuff. They help promote it, and then as a partner, you actually get some things you can give away. So that's one of my huge goals.
And I absolutely don't doubt that you'll eventually get there as well, because you are very committed to obviously Sea of Thieves, given how long it's been. So I think it would be silly for them not to take you up on it. It's not like you're going anywhere, it's not like you're trying to hop in and out and rinse them for any reason. So fingers crossed there. And thinking about this, the last question then, how do you want to see the Twitch platform evolve? And what are some things that you think could be improved on the Twitch platform to help new and small streamers?
I love the way they've been going, like with streaming together stuff. I would love to see that improved quite a bit. I would also like to see them possibly promote smaller streams. I know they just moved front page stuff to only partners can request access to front page now, which does not help smaller streamers at all. I do like the changed that raids now count as part of the partner requirements. So if you get rated every day for 2 months straight with 100 viewers, yeah, there's a chance you can become partners still. They made it a little bit easier. So I want to see more things like that where they can give back to the community. I know there's the Partner Plus program they've done, which has been nice for smaller streamers. Not the Partner Plus, the whatever it's called, the Sub Plus. Well, I don't know what it's called anymore. Where you can get a bigger cut of the subs. But what I would love them to do is release more multi-channel type things. I actually had to create my own bot for a few of these. There was a giveaway bot. I don't want to do giveaways just on my channel while I'm streaming with 2 other people, because then I'm always like, hey, everybody in everybody's chat, come to my chat and put in this keyword so that way you can enter in. That feels bad. I want to see them grow too. So I ended up developing my own bot that now listens to all 3 channels with a keyword. So it doesn't matter whose channel or whose chat you're in, you could join in the giveaways. And so I want to see more collaboration tools. Because again, I played mostly multiplayer games, so I'm usually collaborating with people, and anything that can not only help me, but also helps people that I'm collaborating with, I'm all for it.
Nice. And actually, I want to sneak in one last question before we close up then, which is, if you had kind of one key message to give to new streamers, any bits of advice, a key piece of advice, what would you have to share?
Yeah, just keep pushing. It's not going to come overnight. First week, first 2 weeks, first month might be rough. Just keep pushing, get to know people, try to collaborate. Even if you don't collaborate and you just hang out in somebody's chat and you're active, people see you. There's still a chance someone could just click on your name and be like, oh, hey, this guy streams. Oh, hey, this, whatever. Be engaging. Try to engage with your audience. Be consistent. I always like to post on social media at least, a couple times a week. I've been posting daily clips for the last month or so. It doesn't always happen, but I try. Anything you can do to kind of point people back to you is great. But also be there for others. It's not this isn't just a piece of advice for streaming. This is just in general. Be a supportive person, be a giving person, be a loving person. Try to take care of each other, and people will come back and take care of you. What is that? The golden rule, right? Treat others like how you want to be treated. Also, one big piece of advice: you're gonna have people come in your chat that are rude, and there's multiple ways you can handle it. You can get mad at them and yell at them, but that's what they want. Don't give in to that. Just be chill. No, but seriously, I've had people come in like after they shoot me at a game so many times, like, oh, we just dumped on you guys. You guys are garbage. I'm like, I get dumped on by everybody. You're nothing special. So I give it right back, and we have fun with it. We have a laugh. And then at the end, usually everybody moves on being happy. And, but just don't give into the rage bait that, you'll inevitably have at some point.
Nice. All right. Well, that's some great closing insight there, Toona. But, so yeah, we're going to end it there, but appreciate your time a lot. Really, really appreciate the insight and the feedback and sharing your story. It's super cool to hear about. So again, congratulations on the partnership, and fingers crossed on the Sea of Thieves one too.